2 shots to the spine of this kid. Oh, the Undertaker almost out on his own feet. And now he's climbing the ladder. Oh, Jeff Hardy is close. Get it. Get your title. You're the Undertaker. Oh, look out. Come on, kid. You can still do it. One more step. One more step. He does it. He did it. Jeff Hardy. Oh, my God. Oh, God, no. No. The tombstone off the top of the ladder. And the Undertaker with a choke slam off the top of the ladder has won one hell of a fight. One hell of a fight.
Here is your winner and still the WWE Undisputed Champion,
Welcome to Last Match Standing, the podcast where we review, relive, and rank the 100 greatest wrestling matches of all time. As always, I'm Spencer.
I'm Paul.
I'm Landon.
And I'm Korey Konstantine.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Do we have the amalgamation among our mixed?
We sure do.
Is that a word? Mixed? Did I just make up a word?
Midst.
Yeah, that's the one you're
Thank you.
looking for. That's why you're here. Thanks so much. That's
I'm a
fantastic.
nice linguist, yeah.
Korey, if you guys don't remember, joined us just, it feels like forever ago now.
It's been a minute.
But we're really, really grateful to interview you just a little while ago. And now
you guys
actually...
You guys interviewed him. I couldn't make it.
That's right. But that's okay because you're here this time. And Korey's actually in person with us this time.
Live and living multicolor.
Yeah.
It's a treat. It's a treat. Man, last time you were with us, you told us about a particular match that was very important to you. And we're going to cover it today. So we're so glad that you're joining us. We're talking about The Undertaker versus Jeff Hardy. And God, this match is just... Jeff Hardy himself credits it as launching his career. So what is it about this match that's so influential to you and that people remember about this match so fondly?
For me, it's the very end where Jeff Hardy really makes himself. And I mean, like, after the match is over, Taker goes up the ramp on the bike. He gets on the mic and he says, I'm still standing. And then Taker just turns around and is just about to drop him as he's hanging on the ropes and then just raises his hand. Jeff collapses. Bam, star is made.
Absolutely, unquestionably. And we'll get into the nuts and bolts of all of it here in just a sec.
Yeah, I when you said that we were going to cover this match that was super important to him, I thought you were talking about his PW225 heavyweight championship match against Gil Gracie, which is obviously what we were talking about, because since then, we now have a champion in our midst.
Well, technically 2 champions, right?
Well, he's an actual champion.
Yeah, that's my belt right up there. If you haven't seen it. Yeah,
You're an imaginary champion.
the last match standing trivia champion.
There you go. So congratulations, sir,
thank you.
on the heavyweight championship win. That's awesome. How's that been?
I would say it's been great, but COVID sucks, so it's been mediocre, if I'm going to be honest. But I've definitely appreciated being able to go and work special matches. Not everybody even gets that luxury. Definitely feel like I got the momentum kind of cut out from under me, but I'm not worried about it. Still holding the title, still rolling strong. So,
hey, you've had an excellent match, a return match with Gil Gracie in Tylertown. That was just such a treat to be there for.
well, thank you.
Yeah, the best is yet to come, I think,
absolutely.
for the championship
Absolutely.
reign, for sure. Before we get really, really into it, I did want to bring up one Twitter notification that we have, and it was not a corrections corner. So we were not... No. This is from our new buddy, Bat, on Twitter. That's with 2 T's, just so everyone knows.
Oh, 2 T's.
Like Matt.
Like Matt, but with a B. That's absolutely right. So Bat says, I recently discovered this podcast, and the thing I hate most about it
I love when someone starts with that.
is I live in Homa, and I'm not part of it.
We hate that too.
Yeah, so Homa, for those of you that are across the pond, Homa is really just about 45 minutes to an hour away from us where we are in Louisiana. So that you're so close. Glad that you stumbled upon Last Match Standing, and after this whole COVID thing happens, we'll have to meet up.
Yeah, home is where I made my teeth in the wrestling business before I had to exit it.
Did you make them like in a dentist lab, or did you cut them?
Nah. Oh wait, what did I say?
you
made them.
Sorry, cut my teeth. Sorry.
Make your teeth, man. You
Yeah.
do what you got to do.
Yeah,
man,
I'm,
dentures.
I'm actually very good at making dentures. no, I cut my teeth in home.
And this has been Facts with Paul.
And if you become a $20 patron, Paul will do exactly
God.
that for you. Create your own set of dentures.
Wrestling dentures.
Hey man, a lot of people in wrestling need dentures.
That's
We've got a good idea here. I'm going to cut it out of this episode so that no one steals it. That's
Look,
a
man,
good
all
idea.
I'm gonna say is 2 of my teeth ain't real. That's all I'm gonna say.
Just not gonna say
not all
which
that's
two.
not real.
I'm not gonna say which 2.
So
I got a very important question, Paul.
Yes.
All that you want for Christmas, your 2 front teeth?
You had to.
Those are real. Those are the real ones.
That's fantastic.
those are the real ones.
they're both cracked, but they're real.
So we are covering this match because it won on the closest poll we've ever done. Oh my God. Were y'all watching this poll on Twitter and Patreon? It ended 50-50.
Yeah, let me tell you something. That poll and
realize
the
that.
Survivor Series poll, both of them 50-50, like you said. And I'm glad because they got a lot of good feedback of people love these matches, which is perfect. And the fact that Undertaker, Jeff Hardy was part of that, win makes a whole lot of sense that we have Korey here. So that's perfect.
And well, I agree. But I do want to briefly talk about the match that it tied with on Twitter, which was Will Ospreay versus Zack Sabre Jr. from New Beginnings.
Oh, wow.
And that was the only time, I think that's the only time we put a 2020 match on a poll for consideration.
That is
I think
correct.
you're right.
We typically try and wait, give a match like a year to sort of, settle down so that we're not just riding a hype train. But my wife has told me since that match happened in February that if we don't put it on our list, I'm sleeping on the couch. And I've slept on the couch a couple nights since then. So don't worry. If Hope has anything to do with it, we will definitely cover that match before the season wraps.
I'm sure we're gonna watch it.
Yeah, but today we are coming to you from July 1st, 2002 from the Verizon Wireless Arena in Manchester, New Hampshire, of course. And it's a ladder match for the WWE Undisputed Championship. Shocker. On commentary, we have JR and Jerry Lawler, and the referee, technically, is Earl Hebner.
Is he really?
He is. He's the guy
man.
there. Does he do anything? No, not really, but
No,
he's there.
I forgot. I didn't
And
even
so
notice him.
he's going to get the
He's a
credit.
good referee, man.
He's a great referee. Absolutely.
He's not seen.
No,
That's how you want your referee.
That's
Hey,
very true. I
there
never
you
thought of
go.
that.
I love it.
I just have one question for you, Spencer.
I'm ready.
How did we get here?
It's a great question.
Trick question. I already know how we got here. Well, folks, this one started over vomit.
Oh God. Well,
Had
for
many occurrences in my life that started over vomit.
yeah, it happens.
It does.
But I love that this match has a history that goes back to December 17th, 2001, where the Hardcore Championship was defended in the Cajun Dome, Louisiana.
I think I was there for this.
Everybody loves a Lafayette crowd.
No,
Tell you
it's
what.
Cajun Dome. It's Cajun Dome, Louisiana, according to WWE.
Because they don't want to put Lafayette on there.
Well, no, when they go to Lafayette, what is it, Kansas? They put it, or what's the place that has another Lafayette?
Sounds right.
It's like Kansas, Kentucky. Somebody else has one. They say Lafayette then. I just want to throw that out there. Undertaker is defending his Hardcore Championship
I
against
forgot about this run.
Jeff Hardy, accompanied by Lita, because they just happen to have this Lita love triangle going where Matt was jealous and all that. I mean, Undertaker's whole persona at this point was all about respect. And in this match, he's tossing Jeff Hardy into the corner and just yelling at him, "You will respect me, boy!"
I mean, he does that in this match too, to be fair. I mean, this is like beat up David Flair Undertaker. So, I mean.
Yeah. What? Tell us a little bit about this Undertaker, Paul.
You want me,
This era of Taker.
Okay, this is peak Big Evil. This is like Ric Flair won't fight me, so I'm going to beat his son up in the bathroom. Very, very awkward.
Super logical thing to do.
Taker in this match hits a last ride on Jeff, and Lita goes to the top, and Taker just turns around and looks at her. And she slowly gets down off the top rope, as you do when Taker's looking at you. Just as intimidating
Just go for it.
as he could possibly be. After the match, Taker carries Jeff to the top of the ramp and last ride power bombs him off the stage, turns to Lita.
What a jerk.
He turns to Lita and tells her this is on Lita's conscience, and then tosses her off the stage. This is the Undertaker we have.
Booger Red.
I mean, this is absolutely the darkest version of Taker we get in WWE.
No.
Well,
sir.
Definitely a badass, though.
We saw him orchestrate the hanging of the big boss man at WrestleMania. That's a little bit darker.
we just covered that on Last
we
Mania
did.
Standing, by the way.
That's definitely darker.
Next episode of SmackDown, The Undertaker attacks Matt, injuring him, and the Hardys and Lita were not seen on Raw again until February. Undertaker
Wait,
continues.
sell an injury.
That's it. Undertaker continues to play up his feelings of being disrespected for the next several months. He actually gets eliminated from the 2002 Royal Rumble from none other than Maven.
So good.
I remember watching that, and I was like, oh, no. Maven, Maven, you're in for it, bud.
But then there's a fun story with this moment, though.
Oh, wasn't he drunk when they did this?
He was absolutely drunk. So Maven...
Who is he? Pronouns, pal.
Maven.
Okay.
Maven was so nervous about this spot that Taker convinced him to just get drunk before the match. And he fucking did it.
It's like you hear
Jack
the story.
Daniels, gargle it, kid.
You do what you got to do, man. March 2002, Undertaker and Jeff Hardy get drafted to Raw in the inaugural WWF draft.
Worst idea ever.
Well, it's gone so well for them every time since, right?
Oh, God. Yeah, it's gone so well that they undo it a month later.
So flash forward to April 1st. Ric Flair debuts the new undisputed WWF Championship. Still my favorite championship design they've ever had.
It was beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful. Flair presents the gold to the champion. Anybody remember who the champion was at the time?
Oh, shit.
The inaugural undisputed WWF champion with the
Inaugural?
whoever had the shiny gold belt first.
Oh,
as we all
Jericho?
know, Chris Jericho
was-
beat The Rock and Steve Austin on the same night.
Yeah, that's what I
But-
was asking.
Who got the belt, like the undisputed title?
Because he had both belts.
Correct. Who had the singular undisputed
Shit,
title
I don't
first?
remember. Was it
Brock Lesnar?
That would have been my
Brock?
guess.
Does anybody remember a pay-per-view by the name of WrestleMania 18?
Oh, Triple H.
Triple H
Should have guessed.
defeated
Yeah.
Chris Jericho for those belts.
Because I'm sitting there going, no, he's the first ever.
So Taker shows immediate interest in the gold and goes through Stone Cold at Backlash to earn his shot. Consequently, how do you say this word?
You got it.
Consequently?
Consequently,
Consequently?
consequently. That's the word.
That's a different word altogether.
Consequently, Triple H,
However.
Quadruple H, loses the undisputed championship to Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
Wow.
And in the meantime, while Hogan is not putting anyone over, Jeff is dabbling into a singles career, which is a really interesting transition for him, challenging for the Intercontinental Championship. Undertaker, meanwhile, defeats Hogan for the renamed WWE Undisputed Championship at Judgment Day.
Wait a minute. Is this the worst chokeslam of all time match?
Quite possibly.
Oh.
Like I said, not putting anyone over, but he did, do the job, as you would say.
Oh, yeah.
The next night,
Favors. You didn't do the job.
the next night on Raw, The Undertaker loses to Rob Van Dam for the Undisputed Championship. However, Ric Flair restarts the match, and The Undertaker regains the championship. Way too early for Rob Van Dam,
No,
apparently.
see, I love when they used to do that. Where they said, "Let's see how the crowd's going to react when
Yeah.
this new
I mean,
guy
that's what it
wins,"
was.
and they go crazy. They did the same thing to Jericho in 2000. Like, let's see how the crowd reacts to Jericho winning. They love him.
It's better than what they did to Lex Luger. Remember what they did to Lex Luger?
I think Paul remembers what
Yeah.
they did to Lex Luger.
We're not going to give you the title, but here, just take it and go walk out on Raw with it.
Literally what happened. It's like,
Hey,
why
buddy.
don't we just give you this prop? Go out there and see if you can get the crowd.
I mean, he kind of did, but like, hey, that was your title run, Lex.
Damn. On the June 3rd episode of
He
Raw.
got a pop that night.
So many comments.
Well, wait. Okay, let's pause here. We're talking about Lex Luger. How do
Oh,
you feel about
God.
Lex Luger, Corey?
I admittedly have mixed feelings on him.
You love
he had
him.
he had a great look.
Hey, there you go. Those are some pretty arms.
We'll just leave it at that.
For the low cost of $20, you could be the Lexorcist.
The Lexorcist. That's right. And get dentures.
Wrestling dentures.
That's right.
Oh, God. This is going to become a real thing, I swear.
It's June 3rd, 2002. And on Raw, Jeff Hardy starts letting on to Matt that something's eating at him. Whatever happened to live for the moment? And Matt says, well, what do you mean? Live for the moment? What are you talking about? And he says, you'll see. And he gets himself in a very precarious situation. Taker is busy pouring vomit all over Tommy Dreamer. And, thank you, Paul.
Pouring vomit?
How would you describe the situation? What's
Tommy
going
Dreamer
on?
puked into a bucket, and then he had the bucket dumped onto him.
That's pretty direct. Yeah, that's pretty much what
Watch
happened.
Tommy
then-
Dreamer.
Then Jeff decides to baseball slide into Taker, who then lands in the puddle of Tommy Dreamer's vomit.
That's exactly what happens. Taker is not amused by this. The next week, Matt
You know
and
where they
Jeff.
got that vomit from, right? Vomit R Us.
This is right around the corner from whatever the Civic Center they were in. Really, I think Tommy Dreamer has a membership there. The next week, Matt and Jeff bring the fight to Taker. They beat the tar out of him with a ladder. Cough, cough. And Matt has a match with him the following week. Jeff comes out to help Matt, but with the assist from none other than Raven. Undertaker returns the beating.
That makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
By any logic, Raven would never come out to help the Hardy Boys.
Well, Raven was having a match with Jeff, I
Right.
think. Right.
Oh,
And-
okay.
and
I was
then-
like,
so
you got to put
so
context.
that's,
was
that's why
there.
he's there. but
that's
he
like-
actually handcuffs Jeff to the top rope. And so that's
Okay.
the role Raven plays.
All right, I'm like, you can tell that company did not know how to book Raven.
It's a kink. The June 24th, 2002, we're moving right along. This Raw begins with Mr. McMahon. This is one of the most memorable openings to Raw for me. Mr. McMahon calls for all the superstars on Raw to go to the ring. And they all stand around the ring on the apron, McMahon in the middle. And he challenges them. Do you remember this?
I do.
He challenges them to prove to him that they have ruthless aggression.
Oh,
So I want to know here tonight, as you stand here on my ring, which one of you has that quality? Who among you has that one single ingredient? Who has enough ruthless aggression?
and I was waiting for it.
And
I
he
knew it.
he looks at Jeff Hardy. And he gives Jeff Hardy a non-title match with The Undertaker, which ends pretty quickly in a victory for Taker. But after the match, a broken Jeff challenges Taker for the Undisputed Championship.
Hey, Taker! Look at this! Taker! You've beat my ass time and time again. You just beat my ass right now. But we're not done. What? We're not done at all. I want a match. I want a match next week for the WWE Undisputed Championship. Is he nuts?
Jeff, think about this. He lost his mind.
Well, but not just a regular match, Taker. Hey, not a regular match. My way to beat you. My match to beat you. A ladder match.
Wait a minute. Ladder match.
And so, Undertaker impressed by Hardy's guts, accepts.
Dun, dun, dun.
And God, this match is a treat.
Oh, yeah, it really is.
That gets us to July 1st. And just a couple of things before we get to the actual match itself. There are some promos on that episode of Monday Night Raw prior to the match. And just a couple that I want to point out. One of them is Jeff Hardy has the weirdest interview with Terry I've ever seen.
Oh.
He's just running around, jumping on things, which is great. It's totally him, and I buy it. But if it was anybody else, it would be totally bizarre.
This is Terry Reynolds.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Always bizarre interviews.
Yeah, but
Thank you, Corey.
but Undertaker has two really interesting segments backstage that I think help tell the story going into the match. So he has one interview with Terry where all Taker wants to talk about is Kurt Angle and The Rock.
Oh, yeah. That's what's going on.
Yeah, because he's going to face them at Vengeance in just a couple of weeks, right?
See, I'm going to make The Rock regret the day he ever stuck his nose in my match at King of the Ring.
But aren't you even concerned with your match tonight with Jeff Hardy? You've never even been in a ladder match before.
What's your point?
Well, I'm just saying that.
No. I think this interview's over.
I love that.
It's really good.
The real question here is, was he chewing?
I don't know, actually, off the top of my head.
You'll be able to tell if he was.
Yeah. And just a little bit later in the night, Taker's in Vince's office.
That's it, yeah. I want to let you know something before you get out there. I want to let you know just how damn proud I am of you. You've been stepping up, okay? For over 10 years. For over 10 years, you've shown me what ruthless aggression is all about. So tonight will not be an exception. And by the way, just to show you where my heart is, I've given you what you want at Vengeance. That's right. At Vengeance, you've got The Rock. So don't worry about a thing tonight. Whether you're the champion or not, you got what you want. At Vengeance, you got The Rock.
What the hell's that supposed to mean?
It's not supposed to mean anything.
No, whether I'm champion or not, what's that supposed to mean?
Well, I just meant... Look, I got every confidence you'll be successful all this week.
You're damn right you do. But let me tell you what. You got any self-doubt about me and beating that little punk Jeff Hardy tonight? Not only am I gonna beat him, when I leave that ring tonight, he won't be able to stand up.
So you've got this, Jeff Hardy psyching himself up to prove that this is his battleground, the ladder match. But then you got Taker, who's wondering why people are questioning him overlooking Jeff Hardy.
He's looking past Jeff Hardy. And if that doesn't set up this match...
Oh, it does. It definitely does.
I mean, it just feels like a big deal right from the get-go.
It is. It's the world
For
title.
me, this was a huge deal. Like, I was the biggest Jeff Hardy mark as a kid. So, like, when this match was announced and he was actually for a title match, I was like, are you kidding me? Finally? Like, really? This is it? All right.
So were you a big Jeff Hardy fan before all this went down?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, between Jeff Hardy and The Rock, like, those are my two.
So 2002, Korey Konstantine, how old are you then?
12 years young.
12 years young. Okay, so 12 years old, you're going into watching the main event of Monday Night Raw, and it's Jeff Hardy against The Undertaker in a ladder match. You've got to be going out of your mind.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I was jumping off the top of my bunk bed and climbing up and going again. Yeah.
It's perfect. And you have to imagine so many people were just like that
Oh, yeah, I was one
going
of them.
into this match. Right? And Landon, you said it's a big deal, and you know it from the beginning because the first thing JR says during Hardy's entrance is,
Well, Jeff Hardy is ready. He's ready for the match of his life. A career-defining match. And we're going to see it live.
Yeah, well, before... Did you touch on Matt and Jeff having their moment?
No, I did not.
before?
Feel
Oh,
free.
my
Feel
God.
free.
Okay, so Matt and Lita show up to wish Jeff good luck. And this is huge because this is Lita making her first appearance on TV since breaking her neck on the set of Dark Angel.
Oh, I forgot about that.
And that's me freaking out because Lita was my favorite wrestler in that time period. Like, I was just the biggest Lita fan. Absolutely. So
We know.
yeah, I know. I talk about Lita a ton on this podcast.
say about Liam more than I
Yeah,
talk
good
about.
taste.
But Korey doesn't know. I'm telling Korey now. This is just me and Korey right now.
Korey approves.
JR says, as the Undertaker is walking to the ring, or I guess he's riding to the ring, or I know I think this is after Jeff Hardy is making his way to the ring. JR says,
It'll be the damnest train wreck in history, or the biggest upset in history. Whatever. We'll see it live next.
and I don't think anyone was expecting it to be anything in between.
Yeah, I mean, like no pressure or anything after that.
I just want everyone listening to know that as Landon's saying that, right, saying that quote, Korey is mouthing it, and and I just think that speaks volumes about the impact that this match had, and here we are 18 years later talking about it.
Oh yeah,
Right? So
This is the match that everyone tried to replicate in SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. I mean, look at the attire that Undertaker and Jeff Hardy are wearing in this match. It's the same clothes they're wearing in Shut Your Mouth.
All
Guaranteed.
I made Goku and Shut Your Mouth.
So everyone did. Come
Well,
on.
could-
Here's
make
another thing about this outfit. This outfit made it a lot easier for me to make Jeff Hardy shirts and Jeff Hardy attire.
Yep.
As my neighbor and I would wrestle in the backyard.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, the plain white beater was a staple.
so good.
That's what
I
wore my
looked for
first-
glow in the dark paint for so long.
Well, it seems like you found it.
The search continues.
Okay, Paul, how does this match get started?
Well, this match technically doesn't start right off the bat, but Jeff thinks it's a good idea to run to the outside and get on Taker's bike. And he's like, what are you doing?
Mind games, man.
And so he goes back
He
down to
does
the
a
bike.
little BMX trick.
What?
If you haven't noticed, they cut the camera really quick, but he is actively like standing on one and he's got his leg out,
I saw
kind
that.
of like kicking, and then it cuts to Undertaker.
No, I did
Who
see
looks
that. I didn't realize he was
leg-
actually like doing something.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then Taker looks
Yeah.
legitimately pissed. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? But before he can get there, Jeff's back in the ring. It's like, okay. That's what we're gonna
Well, it's really smart. He's baiting Taker to the outside so he can turn around and kick the ladder on him.
right in his face.
I
Smart.
think it sets the tone for the whole match overall, right? Because it's this brazen Jeff Hardy, like he knows he's the underdog. So he's going to do whatever he needs to get the advantage.
But he also knows that this is the Undertaker's very first ladder match.
Yep.
This is far from Jeff Hardy's first ladder match. I mean, but to be fair, the majority of the match is the Undertaker taking Hardy to school. Okay?
He beats the dog shit out of him in this match.
But Hardy's flurries of offense is enough to fill anybody's stomach with butterflies.
Well, like, not only that, every time he even gets one, like, kind of wild punch, that crowd comes completely unglued. And that's kind of the sort of thing, oh, he's got it, he's coming back, he's fighting back. Nope. Gets knocked the fuck out by, like, a wild punch or by a big boot. Or, oh, my God. I know we're probably going to jump around a lot in this one. But I think for me, the moment where I'm like, all right, that's enough, is whenever Jeff is sandwiching the ladder and then Taker does the leg drop on the
Yeah.
apron. That's the moment for me, I'm like, okay. Because there's no good way to take that. That's going to fucking hurt.
Fortunately, there was still slightly propped up by the bottom rope, and so you didn't take all of it. But
It looked nasty.
yeah,
Well, no,
yeah.
What I love about it is after Taker does it, the camera starts on him, he's going, and you can see that he's sore as hell from it. The camera's zooming in as he's like going, fuck. To grab it to the back of his hip, like that was, maybe I shouldn't have done that.
Well, Hardy is able to create some openings, right? He uses the ladder from that same position as a catapult to hit a flip senton.
Oh, it's glorious. And you're like, okay, maybe he's got it. And it's just every time he's coming back, it's just like, here we go. But Taker, true to what JR says, it just physically dissects Jeff Hardy in this match. And the amount of times he gets launched onto the announce table and it didn't break surprised me because he gets thrown on it about 4 or 5 times. in this
Yeah.
match.
So what is the benefit, do you guys think, to Hardy really being the guy to take the punishment the whole time? Well, how does that benefit this match as a whole?
Well, it just sells how much of an underdog Jeff is. And Taker is beating the shit out of him, and he just keeps standing back up, and he's like, I'm on my feet. Because the whole point of the line when Taker said he won't be able to stand, and everything he throws at Jeff keeps getting back up. And sure, maybe there's a little too much of Taker beating him up and not enough back and forth. But once you get into that like last 5 minutes where it is frantic and back and forth and holy shit, Jeff's going to win.
The thing about pro wrestling, right, is there are expectations. These are characters that have been built up for a long time. You've got The Undertaker in the ring with Jeff Hardy. And this is 2002 Jeff Hardy. This isn't the Jeff Hardy that we know. Like nowadays, it would be a different story, I think.
Yeah, this isn't multi-time world champion Jeff
there were
Hardy.
expectations. There was expectations that you would see The Undertaker destroy Jeff Hardy for 10 minutes. And that's what we get.
And he does
because anything else would not have been realistic.
True.
I mean, come on. But what it does, Spencer, to go back and answer your question, is it creates opportunities for the crowd to absolutely lose their mind.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Whenever Jeff Hardy is positioned into a last ride powerbomb and reverses it into a hurricanrana.
Yeah, like, well, first off, I don't remember anybody ever doing that to Undertaker before.
Absolutely not.
And
I mean, and you just lose your shit.
Yeah,
I mean,
'cause-
this match was designed to make the crowd fall in love with Jeff Hardy.
and it works.
And there's not
he
a
was already
person.
beloved big time.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
But this is definitely the one that pushed him over the edge. I mean, it's that he never died throughout the match. That hope was always there. So every time, I mean, the psychology for this match is solid.
Well, there wasn't a person watching this in the arena or at home that wasn't absolutely convinced that he was going to win this match. At least at one point, you were just like, "Holy shit, they're going to give it to him!"
Like, Landon,
Yeah.
when I was rewatching this match, I jumped out of my chair. Oh, he's gonna win! Like, oh wait
Yeah.
a minute.
Well, I think they do something really, really smart in the way they put this match together, right? Because you get a little taste of Jeff on the ladder by himself for a moment before
Yes.
Taker takes him off, and then every time Jeff has another shot, it's a little
gets
bit
a
closer.
little bit closer.
It's
Yep.
a little bit closer.
Well,
so
for-
instead of just one big ooh,
Yeah.
it's a build towards that, and I think that's really, really good.
Well, for me, the moment is whenever he actually does have his fingers on the belt, like he's touching the belt and he gets hit in the back with the chair.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God damn it! But that's that's the first time when he reverses the power. And the second time he tries it again and Taker's like, no, picks him right back up. But then Jeff grabs a chair and smacks him right between the eyes.
All of the chair shots in this match crack.
Our vibes.
oh,
This
man.
is 2002.
Oh, man.
This is before we knew what we were doing.
It is ugly.
Well, even the one that was, safe to Hardy's back, it was stiff, man.
I mean, the
I
one
felt
that Jeff serves up in the beginning was safe too. But I mean, like it again, crack. Yeah.
Yeah.
It cracked.
Well, like I gotta say, after 30 years of watching Undertaker matches, he did not hold back when he swung a chair.
No, I mean, nor would Jeff want him to.
No.
That's a really great point.
I think my favorite example of Taker like really swinging chairs is his two matches with Triple H, both of them at WrestleMania. Well, excuse me, all three of them, but the two back-to-back ones, both those matches featured a lot of chair shots, and both men are covered in bruises before the match is over. So
Good stuff.
He did not hold back.
Yeah, but I want to set up that chair shot that you were referencing just a second ago, right? So this is after Hardy's been up on the ladder twice. Now the Undertaker has him in the last ride position. He lifts Jeff Hardy up, but Hardy's grabbed the chair on the way up, and he hits
Smacks him.
Undertaker right in the face, and then he smacks him again across the head once he's gained back on his feet. So Undertaker is now down and out of the ring before Jeff Hardy climbs onto the ladder. And this is when we get
The most famous line, I think, one of the most famous lines.
it might be the best call on Raw history.
Oh yeah, hands down. And it's like, and every time I hear it, like you can see it right now, goosebumps every single time.
Same.
What is it, Corey?
Climb the ladder, kid. Make yourself famous.
Climb the ladder, kid! Make yourself famous!
So good.
He's holding.
But
he's
let's also
got the belt.
touch again on this. So my time frame might be wrong, but that was Taker's tagline as well, right? I'll
Yep.
make you
Yeah.
famous.
Yeah.
So we really
Yeah.
tie it all together.
He'd been doing that for well over a year. At
That's
this
a
point.
really good point. If it really just brings it all into focus in this moment.
And
what
then
a
guess
great
what
call.
happens at the end of this match? Jeff gets the ultimate rub, and now Jeff is extra famous.
He is.
Full circle.
Well, I think my favorite thing about it is, as that moment's going on, Jeff's he's about to unhook that belt when he gets choke slammed off the top, and you're like, God damn it, Taker wins.
Yeah.
You can feel, even now watching it back, right, 18 years later, you can feel the breath just absolutely drive out of that arena when Jeff hits the mat.
It's a big moment.
Right?
It's like one of those. I think this doesn't happen a lot in wrestling, but it happens here where you become more famous for losing.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I think if he wins the match, awesome, he did it. But I think at this era, he probably would have lost that title immediately.
I just feel like it wouldn't have been believable. Like, people would have called bullshit on it a little hard if he would have actually won there.
I don't know. In a ladder
but
match,
the fact that what Undertaker did, that he did what he did for Jeff during and after this match did more for Jeff Hardy's career than if Jeff were to have won the belt that night.
That's why, because after the match is over, I mean, it's not really the streak because the match is over, but he does hit the power bomb, the streak, which is technically not.
We're gonna count it. I'm gonna count it.
You're counting.
I'm
Okay.
counting it.
We do get a power bomb.
It's on the
we get a
segment,
power
yeah.
bomb, a post-match power bomb, and this is when my favorite part of the entire thing happens. When Jeff gets up and his voice is cracking, and he's like,
Jeff Hardy made his family. He made the WWE proud. Wait a minute. Hey! Oh, tell me he's not talking. You haven't broke me, Taker. You haven't broke me. I'm still standing. Oh, God. No, you're not. Cut the mic off. From the ropes, I'm standing. Cut the damn mic off. That's enough.
and he just ruffles his hair and raises his arm up. And in one fell swoop, he did two things there. As you said, he gave him the rub. He's cementing, okay, Jeff Hardy is now a big player. He's a big star, and I'm not a bad guy anymore.
I love it. He's looking right at him, and he says, "You're one tough son of a bitch."
Yep.
And he also says, "You crazy motherfucker."
But for me, the moment is when he just ruffles his hair. I'm like, that's a real moment right there. That's not Undertaker. That's the man behind the gimmick going, "Hey man, all right, you did it."
So I feel like favorite moment is pretty obvious, right?
Just said it.
Yeah, I feel like favorite moment is. But does anybody have anything in particular that stands out to you in this match that maybe you had forgotten about, or something that maybe doesn't get as much attention?
It's not. It's not a favorite moment. It's just a really sore moment. There's one point where Undertaker like big boots the ladder into Jeff's ribs, and I'm like, ooh, because you're like, yeah, that's gonna fucking hurt. No matter how you do that, that's gonna hurt.
Yeah, I love that very, very beginning when Jeff is able to get
taunting him,
Taker off his game for a moment. It's that first flurry of offense from Jeff where you're just like, oh.
It's a ladder match. This is Jeff Hardy's right at home here. Taker's not at home in a ladder match.
It's that first glimmer of hope. It gives me chills.
Well, because you realize this is not going to be a wrestling match. It's a ladder match. Mm-hmm. So Taker's ready to come in here and just beat him up in the ring. You can't do that. You have to.
Is this our first ladder match on the list?
No. Is it?
No.
Like
TLC on there, right?
TLC for sure. Like,
but this
I would count that.
This is our first
that's fair.
This is the first match we've done where you have to climb a ladder and retrieve a belt.
TLC. TLC.
I just don't know if we
belts.
have a
that's a 6-man tag though.
Match.
This is a one-on-one ladder match.
Right.
So
I don't know that there's another one-on-one ladder match on our list. I don't think so.
One-on-one ladder match.
I know. I'm trying to think. There aren't very many. I would put maybe Triple H Rock. Maybe
that's a good one.
Oh, from SummerSlam.
Yeah, Sean Razor, obviously excellent match. But
hell, and their rematch I think it's an even better match.
You know what else is a really good ladder match, and I think it's a TLC match. Taker Edge.
Yes, it's TLC
match.
WLC.
That was actually really good.
Let's put it on. I have gotten a few suggestions for Shawn Jericho. Their ladder match that they had for the world title.
Is that from? Oh, damn! Is it from Vengeance?
It's
It's from 2008.
I'm looking at it in my head. I think is it a No Mercy?
I think it is No Mercy.
Yeah, that's a really good match.
That's the one where he detached Sean's retina.
That's the one.
Korey, did we get your favorite moment?
Yeah. I think at the beginning, I think it's still the hand raise.
Hell yeah.
JR had another call in here though. Something about like breaking a human being or something, and King's like, Yeah, another human being, not you. You should probably shut up.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, what a despicable human being. I'm like, he's right next to you, Jimmy. He's right there.
That's so good. My favorite is going to be just like the crowd. We talk often about how a crowd helps make a match. I had to keep checking to make sure this wasn't in North Carolina.
I was just about to say,
they
could
weren't.
you imagine if
this
it was in North Carolina?
If they're in North
Wild.
Carolina, then Jeff goes over.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying right now.
I also really loved what I'm going to call the last match standing sign of the night.
Uh-oh.
Here we
I've got
go.
one in
Here
the
we
crowd.
go.
I looked really hard and I found I really liked it.
How can you even find a sign in this match?
You got to watch it multiple times. Focus on other things.
Yankees suck?
Well, actually,
Are you watching the match right now?
I might be.
wait. So the reason why I noticed it is because I don't notice it until Taker's going back up the ramp after the match.
Okay.
Right. And so I'm watching him on the motorcycle and I see it, and it says, and I couldn't agree more. It says the Hurricane is the real next big thing.
Oh, dig it, Brock Lesnar.
And you know,
I
I'm
love
going to say this right now.
Which is extra fun because F5, tornado, hurricane.
Oh, there you go.
I was just going to say he's a really nice person, very, very delightful.
Oh, great guy.
And we have matching Green Lantern tattoos.
It was so cool seeing him at full gear.
It was great seeing him portray both versions of himself.
Yes.
Gets under the water,
Fantastic.
comes out. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, no, I loved you saw them throw him in the lake off screen,
And I was like, why do they do
and
that off
then
screen?
and then he comes
the
back
next
as
frame. It's like the reporter. I'm like, that's why it's off screen.
So good. Sorry for the spoilers. Spencer.
Yeah,
You'll get there.
listen, I will watch it in a year, okay? I'll watch it in a year.
That
I'll
is
let you know
literally
how it
one
goes.
segment in one match that's got about 30 segments that you're going to forget about.
Okay. So, before we get into our 56th ranking, I was told that our guest has a few issues with...
Well, he's got a few issues, but he also has a few issues with our list.
Okay. So, Korey, let me ask you,
Whoa.
do you have anything in particular, any grievances you would like to air for us?
Yes.
Don't be shy now. Are you a keyboard warrior?
Oh, no. I mean, I can be if I want to, but no. I'll back it up. So, Nakamura and Kota Ibushi.
Here we go.
Here we go.
This is Wrestle Kingdom 9. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
That match
Yes.
is currently number 20.
Yeah. And what's ranked ahead of it? In near proximity that actually bumped it down in the ranking?
I believe last
Don't worry, I'll
episode.
wait.
Last episode, we ranked
Eddie
Eddie
Guerrero
Guerrero versus Rey
Rey
Mysterio from WrestleMania 21 at 18.
Yeah, I know.
He's not happy.
So, what what is the biggest concern?
Two matches, man.
So what puts so I guess this means that you think Nakamura Ibushi should be ranked over Guerrero and Mysterio from 21.
Yes. Now, did they have other matches that were better than Kota and Nakamura? Yes.
Well,
Towards the payoff. I mean, where the fuck is Vicky, etc.
Yeah.
So the payoff with the Dominic thing, I remember that match way more than I remember the 21 match.
God, and see, I personally try to block that out because I just do not remember the Dominic deal
Dude, that ladder match
fondly.
is-
The ladder match is good.
It's honest. The storyline is stupid, but they did a really good job.
but what
I don't know, man.
I just remember.
I kind of thought it was a good storyline.
I
No,
remember
it's a great storyline, but
I remember I was genuinely interested as a kid. I was like, hold on.
totally agree.
well,
Totally had me on it for
the
sure.
point I was going to make is, on paper, it's stupid.
Shooting blanks, Paul.
Yeah. On paper, it's stupid, but they did such a good job. Eddie, Ray, Vicky, and Dominic. Holy shit. And the one act they brought
the
in.
backstory
terrible.
that was also going on at the time was Eddie did have a kid out of wedlock. And
See,
he
I
wrote
didn't know
about
that.
that in his book.
I did not know that.
And so it was a public thing.
Ooh.
So that's why Dominic I'm your puppy.
I do love the
Interesting.
segment.
No,
where
I didn't make that connection.
I do remember.
That's how it all spawned, yeah.
I do remember the segment
Spawned.
very fondly. And I'm,
Good choice of word.
so we talk about famous lines on television. I think Eddie walking out going, Eddie, man, I told you if you beat me, I would keep my secret. I lied, Essay!
I love that.
Dominic, Ray is not your puppy. I am. Sorry, I fucking love Eddie Guerrero.
That was great.
Thank you.
That's good shit.
I practiced it.
The promo that he cuts after the heel turn when he hits the brainbuster on Ray on the steps. The promo the next week when he's yelling at Rey Mysterio's mask is top 5 favorite promos for
I
me ever.
forgot about that.
It's
Yeah.
so good. It's really.
Now do you see why this is better than that match?
Well, okay, but your argument can't be there's another match better than the match. Like we've
The
got
story, man. The story of Nakamura and Kota was so much more significant. Like,
Especially
that
at that
Take us
point.
there. Take us there.
That also took Kota up a level.
It
We're
really
talking
did.
It definitely
It all
did.
ties in. So, like Undertaker doing it for Jeff, that's kind of what happened in that match.
And that's a really great
And
point.
now Kota's won the G1 twice.
Yep. And so you see Kota Ibushi to this day pay homage to Shinsuke Nakamura for that moment and for doing that.
I will
for him.
say that match still has my favorite moment that we've ever covered, which is the slump over the top rope German suplex from the outside to the inside.
Yep.
That is fucking. That's also he had no help at all.
Yeah.
Doesn't need it, man.
I mean, no, he doesn't. But that looked like it hurt to do.
Okay, admittedly, that was a fairly convincing argument. I would just like to say.
And just watching the two back, not to say, like, yes, Eddie and Ray put on a hell of a performance, but, and I'm not just going to condemn it and say, oh, it was an opener, but there wasn't a whole lot of build to it as well. Whereas you kind of like, this was a thing, Kota, he's poking the bear a bit.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point because
And it was just so goddamn stiff, and I loved it.
Oh yeah, it was. You know what? I'm going to make a proclamation. Let's swap them.
we got to wait till the end of the season.
We wait till the end of
okay.
the season
Gotta
to
wait,
make
we gotta see
adjustments.
what
I'm
the
gonna,
listeners
I'm
think
going to
too.
plant that seed in my dangerous
Plant it.
alliance.
Have you? So we talk about like stiffness. I know we're kind of getting off on a
Planting that
tangent
seed
here.
like Eddie planted Dominic.
Oh my god!
See?
Uh,
Circular storytelling.
we were talking about stiffness in the ring.
Oh dear.
Did you
Lord.
see Shibata Ishii?
Which one?
G1 Climax 23 from was it 2012?
Yeah, I did.
Talk about stiff. That one
Ishii
is
can just eat a forearm, man. It's
I
like
mean-
nobody.
eats them for breakfast.
So I have to ask. I know that 18 and 20 had some issues, but is there anything as you look kind of through our list of 55? Is there anything else that's just a glaring like, fuck you guys for putting it there?
Now you're gonna open up this can of worms now.
I just am curious.
Because we do, if you don't know, at the end of each season, on our season finale, we do a wrap-up show where we throw a survey out to all of our listeners. And hey, this is coming up in just a few episodes,
Yeah,
guys.
that's absolutely right.
So be on the lookout for it. And we actually have you rank all. So this time around, it'll be the top 60 that we've done so far. And we want to see what your rankings would be. And we get all of those survey results, and we do a whole bunch of math to get it to average out
It takes
everyone's
days.
rankings.
It does take days.
Takes
And
I'm just
lots
gonna
of
throw
lots of
props
days.
to y'all right now for even getting this far on these rankings.
It's so
It's
difficult.
very,
Because I'm
very
looking at it and I'm
hard.
like, God, that was a great match. Oh, that was an awesome story.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's the whole point. And so, but we want to see. We do. The whole point is we take into account what the listeners think too, and we look at what the listener poll ends up being, what the listener rankings are versus what our rankings are, and we have a big old talk about it. And at the end of each season, we do rearrange some of the rankings if we feel like the listeners make a hard enough suggestion. And we have to be convinced of it.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And that's happened a couple of times.
And it has happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really has. And I think I'll go first on this one.
Okay, so you've got a ranking.
Well, let me. Corey, do you have any thoughts?
I'm sorry.
On the list.
It's too soon to tell. Although I am curious. I don't see it, and maybe I'm just missing it. Macho Man and Ricky Steamboat from 3.
We haven't covered that one yet.
Not yet.
All right.
It's in the cards.
I'm sure I'll send my hate mail to y'all after that.
Uh-oh. Okay, well, where would you put it?
For me,
Look at him scrolling up.
man. It's up. Yeah,
That's
it's
definitely
up.
an upper half match for sure.
No less than top 15 for sure.
Love it.
That's very interesting.
That's around
Yeah.
where I would probably.
And a lot
go.
of a lot of people feel that way. That's going to be really interesting when the time
Well,
comes.
I think when we covered, I was like, that was it.
I think just from an insider's perspective, like that match is great for storytelling, for like kind of, even though they weren't really working, if you actually get the backstory of that match, like Macho Man, whose shirt I'm wearing right now.
Sure is.
He was very, very meticulous about that,
Yeah.
like to the point where he had like a legal pad for it.
Right.
That's what I hear about Macho Man. That's the way he did his matches.
Yeah. I mean, having said that, though, it's great. It doesn't come off that way, though.
No, it
nowadays it's like, oh yeah, they called it in the back, and you can almost tell it's the subtleties, and they don't do as much. So they're not always trying to get into position for everything. It just flows much more naturally.
Right.
So I studied that match of like, that was kind of a groundbreaking thing too. And like the pace of matches after that, to an extent, kind of picked up. And you can see a lot of that influence even still to today.
And that was what I was going to bring up is, do you think that that's one of these maybe major Mount Rushmore matches that inspired a generation of wrestlers?
100%. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I agree with that too. It really did. I mean, I can't tell you how many documentaries I've watched. I go, what's your favorite match? Oh man, Macho and Steamboat from WrestleMania 3. Everybody talks about that one. I think Jericho said he and like his best friend recreated it spot for spot.
Yep.
And they could do it. They could switch. And
Oh,
then his
man.
best friend, he would be Macho, and then they would switch, and then he'd be Steamboat.
That's our
That
next
was
trivia
what they
punishment.
actually did. I think that when he was still starting or like relatively new in Canada, they did the match.
Oh my God. I would love to see that. Like, I would love to like get in the ring if I would ever get in the ring again and do a match like and see if anyone notices
I
that
did
it's
that
a spot for
once.
spot. Actually, I almost
that
did.
once.
I did so when I was 12, I was a huge Randy Orton fan. Like 2004, 2005, Randy Orton was my jam.
Peak Orton.
And me and my buddy reenacted.
That's tough. That's tough.
Me and my buddy reenacted the entire SummerSlam Chris Benoit versus Randy Orton match.
That's a good match.
Oh man,
Excellent match.
Great finish.
me and my brother recreated the first Taker Kane match spot for spot, which
That's
was
a fun one to do.
which was a little hard to do. We were on a trampoline, so it was a little bit easier. But we did it spot for spot, and we studied it for like months, and we did it. And thankfully, trampoline, so nobody got hurt. But I'm like, if we tried to do that in a ring, we would have killed each other.
My sister and I have a twin sister. Poor her. We recreated the Triple H Shawn Michaels Hell in a Cell match.
Oh.
Now she didn't know it, but that's what we were doing. So
Oh, she didn't know whenever she had the blade.
I need this story off air.
okay, so for the 56th time, it's time for us to rank it. And so this time we are ranking Jeff Hardy versus The Undertaker, Monday Night Raw. I don't want to start.
Oh, I'm
I think
more
you
than happy
need
to start.
I don't.
I'm more than happy to start.
Okay.
So-
I'm glad we have help this time, though. That makes me feel better.
this match is one of those, like, I'm going to basically take you on a little stroll. I've got a very specific spot, but you need to understand my reasoning behind this. Because I feel if I just shout out a number, like, why? Like, doesn't make any sense. That's too low, that's too high. So I tried to take everything into account for this one. So the very first thing I thought about was, okay, really, really electric crowd that really helps elevate the match. So there's two different matches on here that I think, okay, the crowd made the match. And those two matches are Canadian Stampede and Icon versus Icon. Those are two of the biggest crowds of all time. So
Which it's funny that you say that because that y'all asked me earlier, and I see that way down at 43, and I'm like, hold on.
there was a
This makes
discussion.
The placement of this match way more difficult if I'm stacking it against.
Yeah.
that.
I would put this story above that one. Definitely they did a lot more. So is that. I would put it above that. And I know I can hear people breaking their keyboards right now or putting cracks in on their phones right now because I'm saying that. My reasoning behind it is The Rock didn't need the rub. He was already the biggest star in the company. Jeff Hardy went from being one of the more popular. I think this is, and Jeff himself even said this. This is the match, and this is the moment that really, really makes Jeff Hardy. Okay, this kid's going to be in the main event, and it took a little bit longer, but that's he had a reason. There's reasons outside of wrestling why that was the case. But when he did come back, he became a 5-time champion.
Yeah,
five or 6-time world champion, and even at that point, almost a decade later, he was still one of the biggest, most popular guys in the business. And him and Matt have both found the secret to longevity.
absolutely.
And
Which I don't know how, because
I don't either.
his style is not the secret to longevity.
It's funny that Jeff never got hurt. It took a motorcycle accident for him to get hurt. It blows my fucking mind. He wrestled
smart.
like that and never got hurt. It blows my fucking mind. So that being said, I would put this number 44, one spot below Icon versus Icon.
But over War Games, Sting Squadron versus
I would
Dangerous
put it
Lines.
over War Games. Yes, it would.
Okay.
And my rationale behind that is probably similar to your reasoning behind it. There's not 10 men in the ring.
Yeah.
It's a one-on-one match. And Larry Zbyszko doesn't blow the match for his team.
So
Automatically elevates anything.
I'll start there. Definitely better whenever the match doesn't involve Larry Zbyszko.
Okay. Don't hit on Larry Zbyszko.
And I love Larry Zbyszko.
I do too.
I had a program with Bruno.
Oh God. Okay, so crawling up from
can rap,
44, I definitely see that hard stop at Rock Hogan. I get you, but let's just crawl up a little bit further.
Oh,
because
I am open to it being higher. That's just
because
that's
the
just
match,
my personal feelings.
the match that I go to when I'm thinking of glass shattering moments where they did so much for one guy who you never thought would make it, I'm going to Wembley Stadium.
Oh man,
SummerSlam 1992. I'm going to Bret Hart versus British Bulldog, and I really get a lot of that. Now that was night and day. Could not have been a more different match.
Oh, absolutely.
But the moment when Bulldog holds up the Intercontinental belt is, I feel the same joy in my heart that I feel when Jeff Hardy is reaching for that ladder. But I feel like what. Keeping in mind what Bret Hart had to do to get that match there.
Undertaker didn't have to go through the same
right.
hurdles.
And I feel like I appreciate the ladder match a little bit more just because of the story they were telling and what it did to show absolutely unprecedented moment on Monday Night Raw. There's nothing else that ever happened like that. And so I would put it right above that, but not quite above what happened at WrestleMania 30 for Daniel Bryan. That was a truly glass-shattering moment for wrestlers everywhere. So I'm putting it at 38.
Okay, which is not that far from where I was at.
Not that far.
Wow.
I'm gonna let Korey go next.
Okay. Oh, here we go.
I'm
I think I know where this is going.
Yeah, no.
We're all about to get our ass kicked right now.
well here.
No, you are.
Here's the deal.
Not though. Well, you might. I don't know.
Okay, so to your point, I'm sitting here thinking, all right, I'm sitting at a table with all guys who have in-ring experience, but one who is a heavyweight champion at the moment, and I'm wearing a sweater vest. So I feel like I am a poster boy for getting thrown in a dumpster at any moment.
Would it make you feel better if I told you my first character wore a sweater vest?
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I do. I would be afraid that my ranking will add fuel to that fire. So, Korey, if you want to go, you go ahead.
Well. No, you know what, Landon? Yeah, I'm pretty much right there with you.
you get that moment, right?
Yeah.
It's a very
And
similar
so,
feeling.
I guess I would have. I'm just gonna pretend like Rock Hogan is not at 43 for this.
Sometimes you have to do that.
Would you want it? Would you want it higher?
Yeah, yeah. I think the significance and the amount of money it brought in.
Oh, absolutely.
And like being one of JR's most vivid memories of his entire career. Just
definitely the best crowd of all time.
I think just all of that and the significance of it. Because yes, Rock didn't need the rub, but once he did get it, I mean, then it was just like, okay,
Yeah.
So no, I'm right there with you. I'm going to say just one tweak to what you were saying though, Landon, because of Jeff's staying power. Whereas Daniel Bryan unfortunately had complications and he's never quite gotten back to that.
No.
I'm gonna bump it right in between Cactus Jack, Triple H, and Daniel Bryan, Triple H.
Okay.
So what is that? 37?
37.
Yeah.
37. That's a good number.
I think that makes a lot of sense because what it did for Jeff Hardy's career, we are still feeling the effects of that right now.
And I still get goosebumps watching this.
I do too.
I do too.
I got goosebumps talking about the match.
So Spencer, we've made it up to 37, and I think we are pretty much in agreement on that.
He's cringing. His face is already cringing.
I want to thank you for being a guest on the show. We'll see y'all next week. That's it. That's all we have to do.
Nope.
Here's the deal.
Here's the deal.
I didn't shake on this.
Not a great start.
I find myself being the person that really thinks, the external factors of a match that are more than just the two guys in the ring add an immeasurable value in a lot of cases. So I'll be the first to vouch for a match to be ranked higher because of the commentary or because of the crowd or whatever. And so this match, just because of the atmosphere, deserves to be on the list for that alone.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. So before I rank it, I don't want anyone to think that I don't think it belongs on the list, because I do. When I was going,
Wasn't there a rumor that you didn't even want to do this match?
there was a rumor. I don't know
Was
where
it
that's
just a rumor?
I don't know where that started. Ultimately,
He's gonna say 57.
I am not going to say 57
It's not even a 56 yet.
because
Oh, God.
I was going to go 48.
48. Okay.
That's where I had it.
Oh, right by Canadian Stampede.
I have it over Canadian Stampede because it did, similarly to you, Paul, remind me of those two matches, Stampede and,
That was my
and
starting
Icon
point.
versus
Yeah.
Icon. And I think it's substantially better than Canadian Stampede, mostly because I think this whole list is substantially better than Canadian
you know
Stampede.
what? I remember I remember campaigning so hard because we did, it's going to be lower. No, it's so good. I'm like, is it? Or is it just that the Bret Hart Stone Cold rivalry was still so big 8 months later and they had the hottest crowd of all time?
Yeah.
Because most of the match is kind of like, take it or leave it. Honestly, if that match was just Steve Austin and Bret Hart with that crowd, I think I would have loved it.
Yeah. It's another
That'd be
10-man
no-
thing,
that'd be
kind of what we
yeah.
talked about. Now, my reasons for 48 are just because I don't know that there's a lot to the match in terms of in-ring action, and I just feel like eyes on me.
I am looking at the list.
I get it. Look, I get it. The match itself is Undertaker throwing around Jeff Hardy like a sack of potatoes.
But it's
I
so
understand what you're
entertaining.
saying.
It's also Jeff's sell job throughout the entire match.
That is true, and I think without that lull, sort of Taker really dominating, then the end doesn't mean as much.
'Cause I'll be honest, the first time I watched it, I was kind of like, up until the big moments, I was like, this is just 18 minutes of Taker beating the fuck out of Jeff Hardy. And then I remember I rewatched it, and I'm like, that would not have worked with anybody else. Nobody else could have done that.
I agree. But very early on, at the very beginning of this episode, we asked you, Korey, why is this match so important, and what's so memorable about it? And you just said the very end. And so my question to myself is, how far can this match go just ranking the end?
Honestly, I think it can still go very, very far. Because we all agree
The psychology
that,
in this match was so spot on.
Oh, absolutely.
From anything as far as like In the very beginning, Jeff throws the ladder at Taker. Taker catches it, obviously, as you would. And then he tries to charge Jeff rather than Jeff doing anything else. Just steps out the way. Boom. You take your first bump. Now he's staggered. And I don't remember if I'm correct here, but I think now we go in for the plancha over the top.
Yes.
And we're big.
Yes, we do.
Then we set the ladder on top of Taker. Jeff's the heaviest 220-pounder that there is, according to Edge. And just squashes the shit out of Taker. So it's like all of that very beginning, like that psychology was there all throughout. The subtlety. Go for the last ride. Jeff tries to run out. Taker catches as he's down. Bam. You have your chair shot. You scramble the brains.
Yeah.
Psychology is there. Your hope spot's there. It's not Jeff like really taking it to it. It's Jeff being the better wrestler, outthinking the heel to an extent. And he's such the perpetual underdog that everything in this match is believable.
Oh, absolutely.
And you don't get that in ladder matches.
Well, I think that's a huge point, and that's the word that sticks with me is believable.
It's a very believable
because you
match.
believe it the whole time.
Oh yeah, and like
And they work very hard to make that true.
Yeah, I think they both took a step back. I was like, look, we can't just do a bunch of crazy spots. We have to save them for the big moments because I'm watching Taker like, why is Taker being so like punch kick in this match? He's usually a little bit more, no, let's do some stuff like, no, I'm the bad
But
guy.
not necessarily this version Taker.
That's true.
This version Taker is very much brawler.
Yeah, this is
straight up.
This is
Absolutely
big evil,
is.
and he's okay. Remember, he's the heel champion that it has to defend that title in a 3-way match in 2 weeks?
Just about 2 or 3.
Yeah. So this is Taker going, okay, I'm just going to beat this kid down, and and he's going to be taken out, but it doesn't work. So when he does try to do more things, that's whenever Jeff's able to capitalize. Like when he tries to sandwich him with the ladder, he does that again in the ring, and Jeff moves out of the way, and he does a corner splash into the ladder, and then Jeff does the whisper in the wind. I think it's before they call it that.
Which I think is the first time like Jeff's actually gotten that move where he makes contact and the other person just doesn't get blasted between the eyes with his foot.
Right?
Yeah, because remember they call it the corkscrew. I'm like, that's the whisper. Oh, it's before he called it that.
That was before, yeah.
Yeah, but he does that, and I'm like, I'm used to him doing that 3 or 4 times in a match, not just once, and it's picture perfect, and let's go. And that's one big
Such a great moment.
Yeah, and it's like because they built up to it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of build up, and there might be a little. I think sometimes I think there might be a little too much build up because there is one moment where I'm like, all right, Taker's punched him for the last 5 minutes. Let's do something, and then they do a bunch of things, and there's one lull, and that one lull does take it down for me. But I think they make up for it so much when they get into the final, like 2 or 3 minutes of this, where it is that frantic, oh shit, this is a fucking ladder match. Shit, climb the fucking ladder. And then when the ladder gets in the ring and gets set up, I think from that point on, this is like pure spectacle. And it's just so entertaining. And every time I watch it, because I watched this 4 or 5 fucking times, every time I was like, God damn it, Jeff's going to win. And I know he's not going to. But
to tie back to what you were saying before about how each time he would get on the ladder, so the psychology of a ladder match is the ladder is the near fall.
Exactly.
So as soon as you're getting closer and you're closer and you're closer, like you don't have your 1, 2, 3, but when he's at the top and he's touching the belt, that's your 2.99.
Yeah, he's got his fingers on the strap.
What
He's
a
about
great way to put that.
And I never
had
thought of it like that.
thought of it that way before.
That's what happens when you get an actual professional wrestler and not a.
You know I have 2 points. I have 2 points. One of them is that word believable again because it makes Jeff Hardy believable as a top guy after this. Like he's no longer just tag partners with Matt, right? Like he can do it on his own, and I think that's hugely important. The second thing is it just hit me, Korey, when you were talking about it. The feeling that I get when I watch this match is the same feeling I get in a match that I imagine we'll cover at some point with Shawn Michaels and Undertaker from WrestleMania 25.
Oh man!
And it's a little bit
I don't know.
different.
Is that match really worthy? I don't know.
I don't know.
4 out of 10 at best.
The reason
Trash.
the
Those guys
reason
will
why
never draw a dime.
Exactly. Oh, look, 2 guys from Texas. That's going to put butts in seats.
Sorry,
No,
Spencer.
it's fine.
Texas.
It isn't.
Yeah, in Texas.
The reason why is because in that match, no, you're not putting Shawn Michaels over as a top star, right? But what you're doing is you're taking something that is unimaginable, like Jeff Hardy winning the title. In this instance, it's Shawn Michaels breaking the streak at that point. You know, the streak is the biggest thing. And it's believable in that match. You think a couple of times, oh shit, it's gonna happen.
Yes.
Like it's gonna happen.
Oh, absolutely.
And there are only a handful of moments in wrestling I can think of that made me feel that way. And so the fact that this match makes me feel that way as well, in combination with, your very convincing arguments across the table, I feel very comfortable. When I came into this recording, it was 48, and I feel very comfortable moving higher than that.
Okay.
Closer
That's
to.
what I thought you said.
I mean, it's been a tennis match.
Yeah.
Us just, going back and forth with the arguments. So where would you be comfortable moving up to? I mean, we landed at 37 and we were all comfortable with that. But
I'm really good there. And it's because I'm good at 37. I really like the Daniel Bryan point as far as like the longevity of Jeff Hardy. And when I look at this match big picture, instead of looking at it as a specific thing, I have to remember that it's one of the best matches in the history of Monday Night Raw.
It really is.
And it's got that commentary that, just brings it to a whole new
Top
level.
5 JR.
Oh, yeah.
Ever. Absolutely.
Well, it's like you can always tell when he really, really, really gets behind somebody, because you can tell when he'll make those calls for somebody, but you can tell
Gets more and more raspy.
Yeah, you can really tell when he's really behind somebody. Because I think I was watching some. I have like one of those Best of Raw DVDs from like 15 years ago.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you.
I heard about this on a previous episode.
Yeah, and,
It's probably still the best of Raw, to be fair.
yeah. Well,
Damn.
There's a couple of things that have happened this year that I think would have gone on there.
Retribution.
I was going. Well, really, let's talk about. I was going to. Randy Orton just. No, I can't do it because if I start talking
Roll
about
credits. We're not topping it.
if I start talking about that amazing Ric Flair promo, I'm going to start crying. So
Oh,
that
my
was really
God.
good. That was really good.
That was an excellent promo.
and it was not supposed to happen.
Okay, so I'm sorry. The Raw DVD.
So you can. This match is this entire segment is on there because this is not like the Raw 20. This is like the greatest moments of Raw. It's from 93 to at this point 2005, I think, or 2007. I forget what year it is. It's 15 years, so that would be 2007, right?
Math.
93 to 2007 is 15, right?
Something like that.
2008.
2008. Yeah. Okay. 2008.
That's what he's here for.
Well, to be fair, there's no segments after 2007 on there because that's a bad year. So this is a whole segment, not just the match, but like the build up, the match, and the pre is on there. But like, there's another segment on there which is like I don't even remember who the fuck's in it. It's like two people that Vince clearly wanted to get over, and you can hear JR just going like, "Oh yeah, the new blah, blah, blah." He's throwing the lines out, but there's nothing behind it. And you watch this match like, "Oh my God, on top of the ladder,
Yeah.
Jeff, make yourself." He's like shaking the table, like standing up, throwing his headset down. God damn it, he's going to do it. You can tell when JR is really behind somebody, and you can tell he's.
Well, he never wanted to know the finish.
That's true, and you can tell
And
when
that's why.
and because they pop him. Like, you can tell because he's like so excited.
Because it creates real moments.
I mean, the man loves the business.
Yeah.
That's why he's still in it.
Now,
And
Paul,
he loves barbecue.
you were at 44. Are you comfortable moving up to
And Blue
37?
Chew.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
I don't know if anybody's going to hear that, but that was funny.
Say it again.
Oh, I said and Blue Chew.
Yeah.
Blue Chew.
So 37?
Yeah,
Is that good?
37.
Yeah, I'm always good with a Clerks reference.
Look at this. Look at this. First time out, swept the table.
You did.
Wow.
We all went lower than you, and we went up to your level. That's true. Yeah, I mean, you made a great argument.
Yeah, I feel
Thank
really
you,
comfortable
thank
with it, too.
As I said, that's what happens when you bring
A professional.
a current professional,
Literal professional.
champion wrestler, and not just a washed-up old guy like me. So.
Well, a huge thank you again to Korey for joining us. Really, really means a lot, and we had a lot of fun. Hope you enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, man. Love to come back and do it anytime.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Korey, where can people find you to learn more about you?
If you want to send your hate mail or hate tweets or love tweets, you can go Konstantine225. Instagram, you can slide in them DMs. Korey Konstantine, that's Korey Konstantine. Yes, I had to squint to remember how to spell my name. Same thing as well on Facebook.
All right, and I'll put that in the show notes so
Excellent.
that people can find it for sure.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome. For everyone listening, feel free to review us and rate us and share us and all that fun stuff.
And subscribe.
And subscribe.
Yes, please.
All of the words that you need to do. So please do those
And
things.
make sure you hit the bell notification to get.
Damn it! Wrong
Not
platform.
on YouTube. But we only have now, guys, 4 matches left in season 3. Yeah, so
We know what 3 of them are, and I'm so
we
excited.
know what 3 of them are.
We do know. Oh.
You know, if you remember, last week we dropped
Is there a hint?
We dropped a hint last week on what our season finale would be, and that hint was
All the gold.
all the gold. So, Landon, you said that you have a second obscure hint for us.
I did say that.
You
didn't I?
sure did.
If you don't, I've got one. Guys, the action in this match will be non-stop.
It will be nonstop.
Okay. I think we're painting a picture. We're painting a picture. People are getting it probably pretty
Gotta
quickly.
go throw it in the Google machine.
Don't do it.
I don't know the match, but I'm gonna find it.
Until episode 57. I'm Spencer,
I'm Paul.
I'm Landon.
I'm Korey Konstantine.
and this is
Last Match Standing.